Hello, welcome back. This is the last week. We have finally ended at a clean 50.04%. This has been one of the best quarters we've had. We had 9%, 12%, and now 50%. So you can see really it's kind of just been growing. And really this quarter started a bit iffy, and then we did come back. So very good, very good. Over here you can see what I mean. So we kind of the first 2 weeks were a little bit iffy over here, -10, so that wasn't very good. And then it kind of just exploded up. So that's very, I was able to switch course, ended up losing trade here, and then we went boom. So very good. Over here dollars. So over here we have a comparison from last week. This week it was kind of my idea was just to keep it here, right? So I could have earned more, could have lost more, but I decided just to keep it at a safe 50. Last week we hit a very high, almost 7%. This week was almost a 1%. So comparing this to NASDAQ, NASDAQ was the best performing index out of all three, Dow and SPY. And so really here it did end quite high, around 13-14%, which is very high. Now we're all the way up here around 50. So over here this week it did almost 2%. We outperformed 50% of days this week. It was a shorter week too. So we've actually outperformed 61% of days for this quarter on NASDAQ. 61% of days. I've never hit a 60%, and that's incredible. And then overall 15. SPY, NASDAQ is around 13. So SPY wasn't as high as NASDAQ. It did 1.8% this week. That's still pretty good. We did 1.9 and 1.86. And then we also outperformed 50% of days. You can see overall it's not 13. It's around 11 though, so still pretty good. Now we're at 50, and then really this is almost at 55, so that's pretty good. Dow Jones was the worst one so far. It did 1.6% this week, which is still pretty good. However, overall it's only 6.3, which around 2 months is not bad. That's pretty good actually. If it got 3% per month, we're talking about 36% a year. So, that's not happening with Dow Jones, but that's what I mean here. So it's still a high percentage. Over here, this is second high, so around 58% of days we have performed it. And then comparison to all, so here we have everything. You can see Dow Jones at the bottom, SPY, the NASDAQ. Over here you got the daily percent. We have a daily percent of 1.47, so 1.5%. This decrease from last week's 1.63. This is very high. The worst day we had was -5. The best day we had was like 14%, something crazy. And we had like an 8, a 10. Then we had another 7 over here, around 8, 9. Then we had a 14, 5, a bunch of them, and we didn't have that many losing trades over here, or days. Over here, so this week we did pretty good on Monday, pretty good on Tuesday, not great on Wednesday. I started my trade here, and then in the end it did recover all my losses from that trade. I actually gained a little bit on it, so closed it out at 50% exact. Over here, profitable negative. So over here we actually finally passed this green to red around 2 weeks ago, I think. Now we're highly above it. We also have quite a bit of neutral in here, so pretty good. Profitable trades increased by 3%, so we're at actually 85%. That's incredibly high, to be honest. 85% of my trades working out. That's very high. Since inception, it's around 72%, so it's still quite high, but this one is the highest I've had ever. Over here, mean gain. So we have a mean gain of 3.3%. That's very high. I know, mean loss of -1.4. The loss is a bit higher than usual. However, our gains are incredibly high. Standard deviation is also very high. We did finally decrease ourselves from 4%, so that's very good. Over here we have the S&P. So S&P did gain a little bit more. It did decrease its losses, so good on both sides. And then the standard deviation stayed the exact same. And over here you have the ratio. So 2.35 for us, 1.07. We're still managing a lot better than SPY. And our losses could be insanely more, -2% more basically, or we could be gaining half as much. Over here we have the comparison from last week. So last week we did have a greater standard deviation. However, difference was greater. This time we have a smaller difference, but our standard deviation is lower, so balances out. Over here we have mean transactions, so it's barely increased. Day trades did not change. Over here, the final return of the portfolio, so 2% around 0.86% more. So yeah, we gained around a good amount. This week was 0.86%, so pretty good. I mean, this is finally the end of the quarter. It's been a while, all the drama. We ended at 50.04. I'm also going to make a video of the full quarter, so that's going to be like the beta, the sharp, Sortino I think I have in there. Oh no, that's for the full review. However, I'll add the Sortino in that. And then there's also alpha, and also like what I've invested in, which one has had more, which one I've done better, like which trades or like ETFs and stuff I've done better in. And then some other stuff too in there. So thanks for watching. This has been a great quarter. I'm hoping to have another great quarter over the summer. The next quarter is probably 2 months and a half, so beginning of June to mid-August. That's the idea. Hope to have another great quarter, another outperforming quarter. We've had 3 straight outperforming quarters of SPY in a row. 9%, 12%, and now 50%. So incredible. So